In 2001, the city of Bowling Green selected an aggressive new strategy with a unified approach to bring the American dream of home ownership back into the lives of its citizens while reviving its downtown area. It was the city's land donation program and decision to partner with two local entities, the Bowling Green Housing Authority and HANDS, Housing Assistance and Development Services, that led to the success story of the Lee Square housing development.
Lee Square was a dream that that came to fruition with the partnership of the City of Bowling Green, not only the Community Development Division of the city, but also the Fire Department and HANDS, our organization, and the Housing Authority of Bowling Green together. It was a true partnership that came together to build affordable housing in an area that really was a focal point for the city.
This project actually started as an outgrowth of an entire urban renewal plan that was put into place in 2001. One of those areas that we felt was an important part of that urban renewal plan was the Shake Rag Historic District. And we heard over and over from folks in public meetings that they would love to move back into the downtown area if there was housing available. And so we took a look at what was in the area and came up with this block, the 200 block between State and College, as being a good location to bring back some of that housing that had disappeared from the neighborhood.
The City of Bowling Green approached us and asked us if we'd like to take a part in this, and doing so, the City of Bowling Green provided the lots and the infrastructure for Lee Square. The Housing Authority of Bowling Green, through Live the Dream, their nonprofit, and HANDS, provided the funds to build these homes to make them available for the public.
We are constantly together to make sure that we're all on the same page, to make sure that we all have the same affordability dream for families in this community to own affordable housing. And we communicate regularly to make sure that we're not doing things that would go against the other's mission or dream.
It's a wonderful experience to partner with those two agencies. They have worked with other agencies on our behalf, such as the Historic Preservation Planner in getting the housing plans approved, working with BGMU on the utility taps, working with the fire department in installing the single-family sprinkler systems. So they've just been really great to work with. We had several innovative ideas with Lee Square. We wanted it to be an urban type development, not to look like a suburban subdivision, because we were going back in the historic downtown. So first and foremost, we wanted to make sure whatever was built blended with the existing neighborhood. So taking from that, we looked at the size of the lots, the type of driveways, the type of materials that we needed to use, and began with the house designs. The HANDS and the Housing Authority both had excellent designs that could fit on the size lots that we were looking at.
We did both have to go through historic preservation to make sure that the houses did contribute to the neighborhood and to kind of resemble what had been there, you know, with the pitch of the roof, also the type of front porches you had on the houses if you had one, just, you know, some of those things that made a difference. Even windows in the houses, the type of windows we used, and also rather than have paved driveways, which are what you see in more upscale neighborhoods or in neighborhoods that are new, we have tire track driveways, which are the older version of what you used to have in neighborhoods like this.
We didn't want a lot of walls, a lot of halls, wasted space, and we came out with 4 floor plans with 3 elevations. And so in other words, we could actually build 12 different homes, and they not look the same, but similar, but they wouldn't look the same, that it gave each one its own unique. And even in each of our houses that we have completed today, we've done different landscape in front of each one, so it looks like someone individually has gone in and done their own landscaping. So it doesn't look like it's a repetitive system.
Their houses are a little different than ours. Some of theirs have upstairs, ours don't. But all of them are around 1,100 to 1,300 square feet. We tried to vary our brick colors. We tried to also put hardy plank in the neighborhood so that you had the historic feel for the neighborhood. The houses were also approved by the Historic Preservation Board so that we could contribute to the neighborhood rather than detract, and that's what we tried to do.
We also incorporated one of the newer guidelines in the zoning ordinance, which allowed 0 lot lines. The problem when we got into pulling the houses to the lot line, to the 0 lot line, those houses also have windows installed on the side of the house. That was for historic preservation purposes, to get the houses to blend with the others in the neighborhood. When we did that, we ran into building code issues because the house couldn't have windows if it was situated at the property line. So because of possible fire hazard.
This particular issue proved to be one of the biggest hurdles the city faced during the development of Lee Square. But it was the installation of an innovative residential sprinkler system funded by the Bowling Green Fire Department that allowed the city to interpret the building code and continue to meet historic preservation guidelines.
Unfortunately, the distances between the homes and the property lines were not sufficient enough to allow them to put windows in the side wall without the sprinkler system. So the sprinkler system actually lessens the code, if you will, and allows them to install those because it is a proven means of keeping the fire at a very minimal stage and actually extinguishing it. For the people that live in Lee Square, this is going to provide them some of the safest homes in Bowling Green, actually. Not only are they going to have a home that has a modern alarm system, but they'll also have a home that has a modern sprinkler system. So they're going to be really, as a group, the safest homes in Bowling Green, in my opinion, from a residential fire standpoint. Another advantage for the fire department with this Lee Square project is that it gives us an actual pilot group of houses that we can look at on a long-term basis, and we can look at the fire damage in that group of houses compared to the rest of the city over the next 10 years and next 20 years and publicize those figures and actually show on a first-hand basis how effective they are. We expect to find this to be a tremendous success in the long term.
While installing the Lee Square infrastructure, the city of Bowling Green included a new street in the center of the block and saw an opportunity to pay homage to a longtime Shake Rag resident, Max Hampton.
That name came from the community. When the city started building the street, we realized we had to have a name for that street. And so we sent out several notices to people that lived in the neighborhood or who had previously expressed interest in the neighborhood and asked them to come to a public meeting. And at that public meeting, we brainstormed and I think whittled a list from about 50 names, suggested names, down to Max Hampton Street, and that was to commemorate one of the longtime residents of the Shake Rag neighborhood. In addition to that, the city is developing a small pocket park. But it will be located on State Street between the houses that are being constructed and the George Washington Carver Center.
The long-term goal is to make Lee Square one of many that we will do across this entire city and hopefully across the region, because we feel like that's the best investment we can make in the community and in the families, because homeownership changes the family structure.
Our goals and everything is to put someone in a home that they're going to keep, and they want to keep them in that home.
It's really amazing that people sense affordable housing as going to people only in poverty. And that's not true. If you think of someone that is 80% or below median income, you're talking about some police officers. You're talking about, sometimes you'll talk about nurses, a lot of times you'll talk about teachers, especially for one person in the household that is the breadwinner. So you're not talking about someone that doesn't work. These people work really hard, they have that dream of home ownership. That's who they are. And they want something better for their families. They want something that's theirs. They want something that's in a stable neighborhood and that's decent, and when they go to bed at night they can lock their door and they just feel like they're safe.
I think it makes us feel a lot safer because of everything inside the house, not to mention a neighborhood is much safer than living, you know, out in the county and, you know, say a mobile home or something like that. I feel a lot safer here. We're close to everything that we need. We can walk everywhere. Our kids are gonna grow up in a neighborhood like I did when I was a kid.
A lot of them never had a dream that they could even be in a home, and are surprised that they're able to.
It's just one of those things that you think about and it just doesn't seem like it's ever going to happen, and then it's happened with this program with Hands. They've worked with us so that we are able to have a house now, something that we weren't sure we were going to have.
And I think it sends the message that people can own a home no matter what. They have opened up the door that the opportunity is there, the assistance that they'll need. You know, I just think it's an overall great effort to bring the community back. This has been my dream and my goal for the past 10 years, and that's what I've been working towards.
It's a satisfying thing to see your organization move to that level where you can make dreams come true for families or individuals. We're very fortunate here because we have the City of Bowling Green on board with us. We have people that have the same vision that we do, and that is the intangible. When you see us and the Housing Authority and the City of Bowling Green and the Fire Department and the Federal Home Loan Bank and financial institutions all working together for the same common goal, that's when you see satisfaction. That's when you know that you're doing something that is important. You also know that it is doing something that is making differences in people's lives.
Bowling Green, as a smaller city, can be a great example for other communities around the nation. We always look to the large cities for examples of how to do affordable housing or community development, but I think Bowling Green can be a great example because we do have limited resources, financial resources, but yet because we have partnered with other agencies and other entities in the community, we can make this a success. And I think if there is any lesson learned from this project, it is the importance of partnerships.
Today, the City of Bowling Green is regarded as a national model, earning the distinguished honor of being the first community to officially answer HUD's call to action for affordable housing and giving the dream of homeownership back to America's workforce. Now, more than 150 communities nationwide are following in Bowling Green's footsteps. If you have questions about this or any other spotlight on Bowling Green, please call City Hall at 393-3000.